Hey everyone, welcome to another entry in the Hyrule Compendium. We have a comment from Vortex Hornet, who we've answered a question before.
We've dealt with him before.
He's left a couple of comments asking us to talk about various topics in Twilight Princess, actually. And this one, I've been streaming it, so I was thinking about it, so I thought, let's do it. He wanted just us to talk about the Twilight areas in the game.
Okay.
I think the common view a lot of people have when I look online is they're not super into these portions of the game.
Yeah. I think this is one of those things as time has gone by, people has thought of it more negatively as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big portion is early on in the game when you're in the Twilight, you have to play as Wolf Link.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm of the belief that Wolf Link's, his ability set is very limited.
Yeah.
It's not fun to play with him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that the combat in Twilight Princess is great to begin with, but it's not deep, I should say. But with Wolf Link, it's not there at all. You're just targeting and attacking, and it gets a little repetitive. It gets a little boring, I think, at times.
Definitely.
And then there's the collection of the Tears of Light that I think people view as, it's just, like, I thought the one in Farron was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go to Eldon, it's like, oh, this again. And then you go to Lanayru, oh, really? They're doing this and I think we talked about this. Like, Nintendo likes doing that.
Uh-huh.
They put something in there, and you got to do it 3 times or 4 times or whatever it is.
Yeah, I understand that it felt repetitive, but I actually kind of wish they maybe not did more Twilight portions of the game, but maybe in certain dungeons have some puzzles that you need to solve as the wolf. I know there's a few where it might be more helpful to be Wolf Link. Like, you have to use your senses to, like, attack an enemy or something.
Snow Peak Ruins, there's a few things you have to be Wolf Link, where you have to burrow underneath a little hole, or you have to dig up, like, a hidden treasure chest that's in the snow.
Mm-hmm. Arbiter's Grounds, you could use the Poe scent.
Right, yeah. And there's like little puzzles, like you got to dig into the sand to pull the chain, or I think in that first room, or in a few rooms in Arbiter's Grounds, there's it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's kind of going through the motions sometimes. Yeah. You just, can't do it like this. Let me try Wolf Link.
Definitely.
It's not deep. The gameplay is just not deep with Wolf Link.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know that's not necessarily what the question was, but early on in the game, you're only in the Twilight with Wolf Link.
Mm-hmm.
Now later in the game, there is no Twilight. Actually, it's just around Hyrule Castle at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just those early portions. I do have to say though, the Twilight is it's a mood setter as well, because it's very dark and gloomy.
Yeah,
kind of hopeless.
Mm-hmm.
I get that vibe from it a little bit. So it's a little, it's not very uplifting being in the Twilight.
So would you say that affects your enjoyment of when you're there, or heightens it?
I don't know. It just makes me feel sad. Like, if it's 75 degrees and sunny outside, I don't want to be playing Twilight Princess in the Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be in Skyloft, flying on my...
Oh, yeah. I remember when I first played it, when I first got the game, I didn't actively think oh, I don't like this, but I do remember thinking, well, I want to play as Link now.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those things where there's just too much of it in the early game, and then it just sort of goes away. And I think Nintendo could. I always think whenever they do stuff like where you have to do it 2, 3, 4 times, that it would always be better served if you have to do it the first time and then they make the later ones optional.
Uh-huh.
Like if there was some sort of quest in Lanayru where you can get the Tears of Light or something. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense with the story, but I'm just saying theoretically here.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and that you can get them, and then you get a heart piece or whatever, some armor or some whatever it is.
Yeah.
Then it would make it more enjoyable for the people that like to be like completionists. while also skippable for those that want to just go through the main quest.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, generally speaking, Zelda has moved ever so slightly in that direction where, like Breath of the Wild, where everything is optional.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll, if it was a more linear game but still had that optional logic, maybe that's the way to go. If that makes sense.
For your perfect Zelda game in your mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was just streaming it now, I'm thinking like my favorite aspect of anything in Zelda is the dungeons.
Okay.
And so that's what I like. I like to make my way and solve the dungeons,
Twilight Princess is your game then.
There's a bunch of them.
And they're pretty long dungeons too.
Yeah, that's actually why sometimes I think more favorably on their dungeons. Like some of them are more linear, a lot of them are, but for like the first one you get to is actually quite lengthy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's no short dungeon. The Goron Mines is the shortest dungeon, but it's not like it's like 5 rooms or something. You know what I mean? It's still, even if you know exactly what you're doing and you're running through it, it's still 20 minutes, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the Great Deku Tree in Ocarina is a 5-minute dungeon if you're just running through it.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing glitches, it's like a 3-minute dungeon or something.
But so if you're, I mean, this is not unique to Twilight Princess, but to get to that dungeon, there's a lot of lead up, and I think of the Twilight section as being a big part of that.
Well, when I think of the Forest Temple, you go to the Forest Temple, I think 3 times before you actually enter the Forest Temple.
Yeah.
Because you first have to run, and you get there when Talo has been captured by the monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get into the Twilight, and you once again go all the way to the Forest Temple to get the last, shadow insects. And then you become regular Link again, and you got to get to the Forest Temple to finally enter the Forest Temple. Like, you've got that landscape memorized by then.
Yeah. I liked with the third Twilight portion that they tried to make it a little different from the other 2.
It's it slowly got larger and larger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first one, it was basically just in the woods. It was just in the Faron Woods, actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was one by Koro, but I mean, then the other one, once you got to Eldon, it was in Kakariko Village, the Graveyard, Death Mountain Trail, Death Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of, it spread out. And then once you were in Lanayru, it was that whole section of the map.
Yeah.
I always found it weird. There was one just hanging out by Telma's bar.
Yep.
It's the oddball one. I think they just wanted you to enter. Well, you were already a wolf. I guess they wanted you to go into Hyrule, to the castle town as a wolf. I don't know.
I think they wanted you to see how everything looked in Twilight, like the castle area and stuff.
Yeah.
But that portion had where you had to fly up the canyon waterfall area.
Right. Another area you had to do multiple times.
Yeah. And it also had like a mini boss fight.
With the Shadow Kargrok, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I like that one was a little different, but maybe Eldon or the Goron, the Kakariko Village, it was kind of very similar to the first one.
Yeah.
Just like making your way. It did have the cool scene where you accidentally burned down the bomb.
Did you mean the mini boss after you get all of the Tears of Light as well? Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's 2 mini bosses. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Kargarak, the one you have to fly.
Oh, right.
You defeat him and then you use him to fly up the river. And then there's the Twilight Bloat, I think it's called. The big giant
That's
oversized.
That's what I was thinking of, yeah.
The oversized bug.
So that's actually a little bit more complicated of an area.
Yeah, I like that mini boss actually. I liked his design. He was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that there was like wolf, a reason to be the Wolf Link. Like that boss was the only thing that really felt built around that ability.
Yeah,
it wasn't too hard or anything, but
right.
I guess it's pretty limited, like you were saying, what you can do with Wolf
right.
Link's mechanics.
Yeah, that wasn't going to be like a 6-phase boss battle with doing something different each time.
Another thing that I brought up while streaming was the teleporting the things in the overworld, like the bridges and the giant lava piece.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was a little bit more of that too in the game.
Just have objects all over the world that are totally out of place.
Yeah, just like little puzzles that you have to solve.
Yeah.
It kind of would remind me of in Skyward Sword, where you have to do the sword.
Okay.
What was it? Whatever it was called, and then they'd appear. The treasures would appear up in the sky.
Goddess cubes.
Yeah, the goddess cubes.
Okay.
Where it's like they're kind of these little hidden treasures all over that you could.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think. You moved there was the Kakariko Gorge bridge.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Bridge of Eldin,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the giant piece of lava that was in Eldin. You had to, to melt the waterfall.
And that's
And the canyon, or the cannon.
The cannon, yeah,
I think that's it.
yeah.
So
It'd been nice if there was like optional little puzzles you could solve.
right, because all of those are required except the Bridge of Eldin. You don't have to do the Bridge of Eldin.
Yeah, that's true.
Highly recommended.
You should though. Yeah, do it right away.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just that backtracking.
It's so obnoxious.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we thought of the Twilight areas. Let us know if you want us to talk about more Twilight Princess. I know that
You know everything about Twilight Princess now.
Oh yeah, I'm an expert. Let us know what other topics you want us to talk about. And thanks for watching.